Hello, I am Dr. D.D. Sawant. Today's topic, which is a global warming, I am serving in J.A.T Arts, Science and Commerce College for Women, Malegaon District, Nashik. Now, today's topic which I had selected, this is a burning issue. So, this is a very much important point of view. That is a global warming. So, global warming, which is increase in the average temperature of Earth's near surface here since the mid 20th century and its projected continuation. So, as a global warming is the increase in average temperature of the Earth near surface, which is as a air and oceans. So, most of the observed temperature increase is caused by increased concentration of greenhouse gases as the average global temperature near the surface of the earth has increased 7 degree to 18 degrees Celsius during 100 years ending in 2005, and majority of scientists agree that this average temperature will likely to rise a further 1.1 to 6.4 degrees Celsius during the 21st century. So while observing to this, the climate of a place is determined by a combination of number of weather elements or components. They are the temperature of air, the humidity and precipitation, duration of sunshine, wind direction and velocity, atmospheric pressure and many others. These elements of weather are variable and unreliable. So as major gases which are being increasing, those are a water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, ozone. So as the gases which are recorded in percentage, those are water vapor, which is having 36 to 70% as a concentration of greenhouses gases which are being increasing. So carbon dioxide, which is a 9.26%, methane is 4.9%, ozone 3.7%. So this is the figure as of the earth which is being burning issue which is nowadays which is going on. As a next slide which shows the greenhouse effect. So solar radiations which are being as ultraviolet rays which are absorbed by the earth, those are 235 volt, and on this earth land and the ocean surface warm to an average of 14 degree Celsius. So 67% of the temperature which is moved in the atmosphere, and 14% which is near about 47% of the temperature which is absorbed by the earth. So insolation received at the ground by direct penetration, that is 41%, and diffuse sky radiation, that is 6%. So in all total the temperature insolation which is received by the ground, that is 47%. So as thermal radiations into space which are deflected away, retained to the atmosphere, and those are by long wave radiations, by latent heat transfer, by conduction. So, how much percent which are retained back into the atmosphere by long wave radiations? Those are 14%, latent heat transfer, that is 23%, and by conduction, that is 10%. In all total, the retained atmosphere, retained temperature to the atmosphere from the ground, that is 47%. So greenhouse effect which is being seen near to the earth's surface where troposphere layer is present. From now we will see that the causes of the global warming which are acting part. So as a human activities since the industrial revolution have increased the concentration of various house gases which are responsible for warming. As we have seen that carbon dioxide in the atmosphere allows the insolation but absorbs the heat given out by the surface of the earth which have a longer wavelength. The higher the carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere, greater the heat retained. This is known as the greenhouse effect. So the effect of CO2 is clearest for the most recent 50 years, for which the most detailed data is available. Other various greenhouse gases are methane, tropospheric ozone, chlorofluorocarbon, which is called as a CFCs, and nitrous oxide. As in this slide it is given that the major source of carbon dioxide, which is 80%, and 20% by methane and nitrous oxide. So this is the burning of fossil fuels accounts for about 75% of the annual CO2 emission from human activities. The major source of carbon dioxide is the power plants which produce it for the purpose of electricity generation. About 20% of the CO2 emitted in the atmosphere comes from burning of gasoline in the engine of the vehicles. Only few centuries back, nearly 60% of the land surface of the earth was covered by forest. Today, only 25% of the land has a tree cover. The trees play an important role in the atmosphere. They take in carbon dioxide and give out oxygen. Thus, they do not allow to increase in the proportion of CO2 in air. Due to deforestation, CO2 is increasing in air. Now, methane is more than 20 times as effectual as CO2 at entrapping heat in the atmosphere. This gas is obtained from resources which as rice paddies, bovine flatulence, bacteria in box, and fossil fuels manufacture. When fields are flooded, the organic matter in the soil decays, releasing methane to the atmosphere. So, methane is more than 20 times as effectual as CO2 at entrapping heat in the atmosphere, as we had seen. So methane is obtained from resources such as rice paddies, bovine flatulence, bacteria in box, and fossil fuel manufacture. So the main source of nitrous oxide include nylon and nitric acid production, cars with catalytic converters, the use of fertilizers in agriculture, and the burning of organic matter. In nowadays, the human actions which are being acting part in agriculture as well as in industries, it is in a huge number. So the main sources of nitrous oxide include nylon and nitric acid that we had seen. Next slide. Deforestation, cutting and burning of forest for the purpose of residence and industrialization. In nowadays, human action, anthropogenic activities which are being going on, those are very serious issues. So in nowadays, the for settlement, for residence, for industries, for agriculture, for various purposes, the forest cutting is going on, deforestation is going on, and hence due to this, a forest many issues are there. Forest burning issue is there. Again, so as in this slide, emission by annual greenhouse gas emission by sector, agricultural byproducts, transportation fuel, fossil fuels, again power stations, waste disposal and treatment, land use and biomass burning, residential, commercial and other sources. So figures are given over here. Various percentage of figures which are given as carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide which is being released from this that we are observing. Now when all these gases which are being increased in the atmosphere, so this is the entrapping heat in the atmosphere, and hence the gas which is obtained from resources such from various views, various fields, and due to this effects which are seen, those effects are the effect of global warming is an increase in the average temperature of the earth, which in turn is responsible for other alternations in the ecology. We shall study these effects in detail. Number one, the effect which is seen, that is from ice in polar areas is melting. Average temperature in the Arctic have increased at almost twice the global rate in the past 100 years. Ice near both the poles has started melting at an increasing rate, as we are observing that 75% of all the fresh water is still locked up in ice and ice caps that exist on both poles. In Arctic Ocean, area of permanent ice cover is decreasing by 7% every decade. The ice sheet is in Greenland are rapidly thinning. Ice shelf is collapsing in Antarctica. In January-February 2002, an area of 3,250 square kilometer disintegrated in 35 days. Large expanse of tundra permafrost in Siberia is thawing. Ice on Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania is projected to disappear completely by 2020. Now, second, that is the glaciers are reducing in number or in their length. Due to this increase of temperature, glaciers are starting melting. Pindari Glacier is shrinking at a rate of 13 meter annually and Gangotri by 30 meter. 95% of the Himalayan glaciers are shrinking, thus affecting the water supply of the rivers that originating from the mountains. Many of the glaciers in the Rockies are disappearing as climate warms at twice the global average. 6% glacier in Venezuela in 1982. Only two have remained, predicted to vanish in coming 20 years. So, as a glacier in Nepal also, again these are mountains are disappeared in the last 100 years. So, this is one of the effect which is seen. Next one, that is the third point, which comes as a rise in sea level. All the meltwater joins the ocean, due to which there is rise in the sea level. On an average, the sea level is rising all over the world each year by 1.7 millimeter. This rate will increase rapidly in coming future. The effect of rise in sea level are very grave. The coastal lowland areas will submerge under ocean water. According to the experts, if the sea level goes up by 1 meter, Bangladesh will lose 17.5% of its land. Nearly 4.3% of the area in Goa, including its beaches and tourist spots, will get inundated if there is 1 meter rise in the sea level. Hawaii has witnessed considerable beach loss owing to sea level rise. Rising oceans has flooded about 18,500 acres of mangrove forest. As in Fiji also, shoreline is receding by 0.15 meters every year. Thus, large coastal areas will submerge underwater in future. As California is also one of the example. Mumbai is also one of the example, which is in nowadays, which is near to the ocean, and it will also suffer at one day. Next one, that is fourth point, which is a effect on weather. Global temperature is expected to increase the intensity of the extreme weather. And to change the amount of pattern of precipitation. The global warming may boost concentration of severe climate events such as floods, famines, heat waves, tornadoes, and twisters. Edmonton in Canada experienced warmest summer in 1998. In the same year, heat wave killed over 100 people in Texas, which is in USA. In Alaska, summer days without snow increased from less than 80 in the 1950s to over hundreds in the 1990s. Now 2000 was the wettest year in southeast Norway and 40% rise in precipitation in northern Europe. The UAE had first time ever snowfall in 2004. The record breaking rains of Mumbai on July 26, 2005, 944 millimeter of rain which was occurred in Mumbai. In Chennai on the 27-day long heat wave in Andhra Pradesh that have left 4,000 dead were all the effect of global warming. And in nowadays also, the various hazards which are being seen as earthquakes and volcanoes which are being acting part. So effect of next one, that is the effect on agriculture which is being happening. This study reveals that warmer climate will result in lower rice and wheat yields. Pest population will increase, negatively affecting agriculture as sea level rise and inundation makes rice cultivation impossible in low-lying coastal areas. Thousands will be robbed of their livelihood. Effect on biodiversity also. The species of plants and animals, yeah, living organisms which cannot adapt to rising temperatures will become extinct, while others will migrate. Wild asses could lose their habitat in the run of Kutch when sea level rise. Plants in mountainous areas could move to higher altitudes, but those at their maximum altitude will disappear. Mangroves will get submerged near the coast and coral reefs will get bleached because of rising temperature. As a in world, 17 penguin species are already threatened or endangered. If we get a series of El Ninos, they are going to disappear, warn biologists. A child born some years after now may not know what a polar bear or penguin is. Last effect which is seen, that is a global warming could pay havoc with monsoon patterns, putting pressure on scarce water resources. Some experts say rainfall could decline by 5% to 25% in winter, leading to droughts in summer. Summer temperatures could go up as much as 8 degrees Celsius in parts of Europe by the 2080s, turning huge areas of Mediterranean countries to deserts. As a, due to these effects, a spread of diseases like malaria, dengue fever due to increase in humidity levels. As a species of fish also will become extinct due to rise in temperature of water, while other species which prefer warmer water will increase tremendously. So global warming is a very serious effect on all spheres of life. So for these remedies, many efforts are being made by various nations to cut down the rate of global warming. One such efforts of the Kyoto Agreement that has been made between 16 nations to reduce the emissions of various greenhouse gases. Also, many non-profit organizations are working for the cause. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change IPCC is working for reducing greenhouse gas emission. They found that there are key practices and technologies in various sectors such as energy supply, transportation, industries, and agriculture that should be implemented to reduce global emissions. So here some measures are there should take the control global warming. Number one, that is use of those power resources which do not produce carbon dioxide. Second one, that is a forestation should be there. Number third, checking the proportion of methane. Number fourth one is a checking on the source of nitrous oxide. So individually all should check the various uh, ways and to reduce the warming condition. Thanks a lot.